Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, hello, hi. My name is Jyotsna and I make bookish videos on this channel. So if books and things associated with books pique your interest, then consider subscribing. This is the official start of the end of the year series of 2023. Now, if you do not know, I generally do an end of the year series every year, and I have been doing it since 2020 now. So this is my third year doing it. So I basically just wrap up the entire year, talk about all my reading stats, my best and worst books, non-fiction, fiction of the year, and also I tend to talk about some other things as well while you watch these videos. And of course, if you want to look at the end of the year series for the other years, the playlist is down in the description box. Thank you to my corporate day job, I know how to use Excel, and I have an Excel sheet on Google Docs that I keep updating on a frequent basis as per the books I read. Okay, so the drill is simple. I'll be talking about the charts and the line graphs and the bar graphs, all of that from the particular Excel sheet, talking about the books I've read, the nature of the books, how I read them, the format read, the source, etc., etc. And I think you'll love it. Okay, do stick around. I think this is not going to be a long video. It will be a short video where I just show you my reading stats for 2023. If you are interested in this particular Excel sheet or you want to maintain it in 2024, I have my version down in the description box that you can check out. Let's move on to the data analysis of my reading in 2023. So let me start with the first pie chart, and the pie chart is fiction versus non-fiction. So this is the overall genre. Generally, I am very close. If you see my other years videos, I am generally at 51% non-fiction and maybe 49ish, fiction. But this time around, I am kind of high on fiction. As you can see, it's 61.1% fiction and 38.9% non-fiction. Out of the 54 books that I read this year, I read 21 books that are non-fiction books and 33 books that are fiction books. Moving to my next statistic, it is the subgenre, and subgenre is basically where I mention whether this is contemporary, self-help, literary fiction, or thriller, or you can see it on the screen, right? It is self-explanatory, and I do this basically by the bifurcation of the book in itself, like what it calls itself, rather than my thought process. Of course, when someone says there's an investigation or a journalistic instinct involved in it, it automatically becomes an investigative book for me. But as you can see, I have read more than 15 contemporary books, and this can be contemporary fiction or contemporary non-fiction. Anything that's contemporary non-fiction is generally somewhat of a book that explores a pretty general topic in a very, very niche way. And then there are short stories, memoirs as well. So something that actually encompasses the entire top three of my reading in terms of subgenre. It's contemporary, short stories, and memoir. Let me get to my monthly reading stats. So this is the bar graph for that. So as you can see, April is when I actually read 9 books, and the least amount of books were read in June and Jan. So in Jan, I was busy with my marriage preparations, and in June, I was busy with moving into my new place, which you see right now. So I think this is very interesting because it kind of shows you the statistics of also how life gets busy, because when life gets busy, your reading goes a bit on the back foot, and then you read lesser books. And of course, if you see December, I've only read 2 books so far in December. I may finish a third book, I may not finish a third book, I really don't know. But as of Christmas Day, December is at 2 books only. This is the pie chart of how I consumed the books. My favorite way of consuming books is audiobooks. Like, hands down, I absolutely love audiobooks, and this is simply because it helps me stay grounded. And when life is going busy and I do not have to sit and physically read a book. I can read a book while doing the dishes, while doing the laundry, and that's like the easiest amazing thing ever that man has ever built, for me. So of course 20.4% would be physical books. So physical books are books that I generally have on my shelf, and paperback or hardback books. And 14.8% ebooks, so these are ebooks on my Kindle. And then 3.7% ebook plus audiobook. So I really love doing this method where I have the audiobook on Audible, I get the book on Kindle, and then I merge them together and I start reading them at the same time. It really helps you with the concentration, with the focus, and it also helps you get over a slump. So if you're in a reading slump, maybe you want to try this. It might be a bit odd at first because there's someone reading out the book aloud to you and you're reading the book in your ebook reader, but it is a very, very effective mechanism to read and concentrate and focus on finishing the book. So as a follow-up graph, I have the source of the books that I have here. Which platform have I used to read it? And in this case, 31.5% is Libby, because I do borrow a lot of books from Libby. Then I also have books, of course, owned on shelf, means some books that I own. Basically, these are physical books. Then there's Audible, because I love Audible and Audible has a very good catalog, so I am subscribed to Audible. I also use Script. So Script is 20.4%. So if you see, Script and owned on shelf are exactly the same. And I really like Script. It has a good collection of short stories and books, and especially international books. So Script is now Everand for the audiobooks and Script for the documents and the PPTs and things like that. And then owned on Kindle is these are books that I have on my Kindle. So yeah, I really want to finish my Kindle library soon because I just keep piling up my Kindle library. Let's get to some author statistics, because this is where I kind of see what kind of authors have I read. So the first one in this list is ethnicity, and as you can see, my 38.9% of the authors that I have read are American, and they can be of any race. I will get to that pie chart later. Of course, there is Indian 13%, British 11%, there's Canadian, Irish, Korean, Japanese. Oh, Japanese is 7.4 this time around. So I think that's good because I've read more Japanese authors. And of course, there's Colombian. Then moving on to the next graph, this is the country of residence of these authors, and of course most of them are in the US, because yeah, like you saw in the previous graph, I've read a lot of American authors this year. And then of course 11.1% India, 9.3% Japan, and of 13% in the UK, which is really, really interesting. And talking about the race of these authors, 55.6% have been white authors, 5.6% have been Hispanic, Asian authors are 18.5%, South Asian authors are 13%, and Black authors are 7.4%. So getting to the translation part, so this is the pie chart which talks about whether translation is yes or no. So 87% of the books that I have read have been written in English, and then the remaining are divided as 9.3% for international translation and 3.7% for Indian translation. Next bar graph is just series of languages that I have read the translations from. So basically the books are translated from Japanese, Bengali, Spanish, and Hindi. Some other things that I really like to look at when reading books is to understand if I've read the author before, if the author is new to me, or if it is a debut novel. So as you can see over here, I have read 55.6% new authors whose books I have not read before, 22.2% of books from those authors who I've read before, and 22.2% again for debut authors. Let me get to the final leg, that is the rating. And when I say rating, I do this multiple ways. So first thing, number one, is the actual rating. So that is on 5 stars, how much do I give the book? And the second form of rating that I do is NPS. It is Net Promoter Score. And this is something that I learned from my corporate world. So Net Promoter Score is basically used to analyze customer feedback in general, and I use it for my books as well. And it is a very easier thing to do because what the NPS has is basically to understand which of your books would you recommend to other people and which of your books would you kind of not recommend and which of those books would you diss. As you can see in the pie chart, I have promoter, detractor, and neutral. So promoter is 75.9%, and promoters are those books which I would recommend to other people if the topic comes up, or this also includes those books that I keep screaming on top of the roof saying that please read this. Then comes neutral. Neutral is 18.5%. So these are mainly books I'm really neutral about. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone unless like it's a very rare occasion and I feel like maybe a neutral book can be recommended. So yeah, that's when I recommend it, but generally not recommended. I'm just neutral to the entire situation. And then there's 5.6% detractor. These are books I really despise. These are like what from my worst of 2023 list, and that is why it's simply there. So showing you my basic rating, this is the rating on 5 stars. And as you can see, I have not gone below 3 necessarily in this particular situation. I always make sure that I read books that are good, that I am aware that I would like it. I don't read books that I would not like. I mean, it's a very simple thing to say, but there are people who experiment with a lot of books. I know my genre now. I know what I will like. So I always read something that would suit me and my taste. And yeah, as you can see, I have some 5-star hits. I have some 4 stars as well, and I have some 3 stars as well. And this anything between 4, like it's 4.8 or maybe 4.5, or things like that also occur at times. But my average rating of all the books in 2023 is 4.18 stars. So this is just a statistic that I thought I would show you, which is my year-in books, which is on Goodreads. And I have read 54 books. So my Goodreads challenge was to read 50 books by the end of the year, and I have surpassed that goal by 4 books. And also I've read about 17,000 pages, as you can see. My shortest book has been Bonsai by Alejandro Zambra, which is 83 pages, and the longest one has been A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James at 688 pages. My average book length in 2023 has been 316 pages, and the most shelved and the least shelved, as you can see, is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and yeah, modern Hindi short stories as well. And the highest rated book for me that I read, and it's been the highest rated one on Goodreads as well, is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kim Solver. Lovely book to read. And yeah, my first review of the year was I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara, and this was actually a non-fiction of an internet crime researcher named Michelle McNamara, and it's about how she investigated the identity of the East Area rapist in California. So yeah, a lot of books have been read. I hope that I can continue the momentum in 2024 as well. So that's it as such for my reading stats. I really don't have much to add other than these things because I have tried to limit the way I do my data analysis and data statistics, because the important part is to focus on your reading than making these data stats. These data stats are good to see what you can improve in the next year. But yeah, this is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next end of the year series video soon. Bye.